Oh, nerds. I love the answer to, I would really love the answer to be start with brush control. Start with keeping the right amount of paint in the right spaces because that's the way I teach. Painting is all about the right amount of paint in the right location, period. That I stand by that. You can't argue with me. Now, that is a very broad statement because as you get more proficient with painting, the right amount of paint in the right places includes a lot of variables that don't exist for you as a beginner. As a beginner, it's paint the pants blue. Make sure the blue stays inside the lines of the pants. Paint the boots brown. Make sure the brown doesn't get on the blue pants. Paint the shirt green. Make sure the green shirt doesn't get on the blue pants. Paint the flesh. Make sure it doesn't get on the green shirt, right? And so you're really working on brush control by keeping your color spacing correct and not worrying about all the rest. Values and volumes and all of that are the next most important thing. But the first most important thing is be learning how to put paint on a three-dimensional surface in a way that keeps it nice and confined to where that color is supposed to go. Because we're working with tiny details, and those tiny details can be very hard to get right. So that will teach you which details to paint first. Because if your goal is to make sure that at the end of the day, none of my colors overlap into the wrong area, like a coloring book that has all the spots, you don't want your red to go outside the lines. So don't paint outside the lines. And when you're looking at a model that's, a little dude, right? What part of this model do you paint first, right? Well, if you start painting the jacket first, then you're in trouble when you go to paint the shirt because it's harder to keep the paint inside the lines if you're painting the shirt that's underneath the jacket, right? If you paint the shirt first, well, then it's hard to paint the flesh because the flesh is underneath the shirt, and how do you stay inside the lines? So you start teaching yourself by forcing the goal to be stay inside the lines. You start teaching yourself where to start your painting. So I generally, on models with flesh, I start painting the flesh first because the flesh is generally going to have a shirt over the top and things like that. Now, there are models that defy that, ones that have like bones protruding from the flesh, undead models, where you can see the guts inside. Well, maybe you have to paint the guts because it's inside the flesh. But you really start thinking about what's the thing on the closest to the center of the model. The center meaning the spine or the guts of the model. Paint that first and then work outward so that you can constantly make it easy for yourself to stay inside the lines, right? Or easier, right? When you're painting at scale, nothing's ever easy, right? You're painting a belt buckle that's the size of a gnat, right? So a lot of that is hand-eye coordination and getting used to, steepling your hands and propping yourself up so you're not having your hands shake as you're going into the details, stick your tongue out right, stand on one foot, do all the things, the voodoo science that's necessary to make sure that you can do that. But you start to learn, okay, I should paint the skin first because it's impossible for me to go in and paint the skin and not get it on the shirt or the hat, right? And then I paint the skin. And then you can get outside the lines with the skin, which makes it feel really loose and fun. And then you can go tighten that up by painting the hat to cover up the parts where you got or whatever wrap he has on his doohickey head. But then you paint the wrap, and the wrap can cover up the spots where you got outside the lines on the thing that was beneath it. And then, so you can paint the shirt, and the shirt can cover up where you went a little wild with the skin. And then when you paint the jacket, it'll cover up where you went a little bit wild with the shirt, right? And then you just got to keep everything nice and neat past that. So that's where I say everybody should start, because that will get you comfortable with the idea of painting three-dimensional surfaces. It'll get you comfortable with where to start. And then you're set with the tools that teach you how to then turn those colors into something that looks good. Because you already got the fundament. If the paint's where it's supposed to be, it already looks good. It'll just look flat. Because just blue pants don't look good, right? They look flat. You need some life to them. You need some shading and some highlights. So then you start worrying about light. But light doesn't help you if your paint's not where it should be. Make sense? I think start with brush control and putting the right paint, keeping the color inside the lines. Then start talking about lighting on that color and how to shade. And that can be as simple as, hey, put that same great base coat on and then dry brush a highlight, put a wash on it, and then re-highlight the edges. And then you can start saying, okay, what's a better way to do highlights that doesn't look so chalky, or dry brushing looks a little messy on things like smooth skin and armor. So how do I do smooth skin and armor? Dry brushing looks great on fur and stone and wood. So you keep doing those in that way. But if you want to do something like, armor, how do I make it look smooth? So then you have to start working with your brush control on layering, right? How do I put one color over another and not make it look like a candy corn to where I can see every band of color as I go? Or like we always show with Thanos, learn how to paint bands of color with zero blending and make it look good. Because this could be your style. You might be like, blending is the bane of my existence. There's zero blending on this model. Not a single color, not a single brushstroke is blended. This is all just colors and geometric shapes put together in a way where the colors make sense, and it looks like, non-metallic gold and Thanos, right? So all of a sudden you can learn to paint whatever your skill is, and you can find a method to do so that fits the comfort and your confidence equally. And so never say never. Never think that there's, oh, if I don't learn non-metallic metal, I'm doomed. No, just paint with metallic paints and get really good at metallic paints, and then they look fantastic. So yeah, I think that for starting we did the base set as the first colors we ever made. And so the base set is a great starting point. I think I always tell people base set and expansion set one, but now we have the starter set. And the starter set takes some good colors from all the sets. It's 12 colors, but it has some metallics, has a couple washes in it, some colors. It has three brushes, and then is a great place to start because it has three dauntless brushes in it, one dry brush and two rounds. So it gives you a good range of things to do, and then it gives you some good colors to start with. Those colors aren't going to finish a model for you though, because they don't give you tints, tones, and shades of everything. That you get crazy with the colors. But I really like the starter set that we do. I think it's a great place to have a brush and some colors to start getting used to keeping the paint in the lines, and then add colors as you like it. TK421 says, for new painters, remember that for every mini you paint, probably better to buy another box of minis, especially before you finish the unit previous project. Correct. Welcome to our 12-step program.